All right, this is a short demo detailing the new getsignals and Attio integration. So we serve two purposes with this integration, or have two main use cases. The first is to allow users to push warm leads from social signals derived from LinkedIn into Attio as enriched contacts that they can start engaging. So that's fresh pipeline. The second part of it is to add social engagement into Attio in the form of notes for existing people that already are in the CRM, whether they are existing customers or leads that they're working, but to get that social intelligence back into the CRM automatically. So I'm going to quickly show you both. From a technical perspective, the integration is pretty simple to set up. I already have it set up here, just typical OAuth connector. I'll just quickly walk through this. Click connect. Confirm the scopes. And then we can get into actually configuring the integration. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the social sync feature, and that is to push social engagement, social intelligence, whether that's a new post from a contact, or also being able to see what that person has liked or even commented on along with that post copy, and also with that comment would be pushed back into Attio in the form of a note. That's this social sync tab. The first thing the user has to do is just tell us where they store the LinkedIn username or URL for a person inside Attio, which attribute that is. We automatically default to Attio's default LinkedIn attribute, but if a user has another custom property that they're using, they can select that here. They can also select a fallback, depending on how advanced their data structure is. Now, we have a LinkedIn profile finder as well, so if we find that there's missing data and there is no username, we can try to look it up. That data, if we find it and it's successful, we push that back into Attio as well. So the way that the social sync works is it starts with, we're going to pull in people from Attio, and the way we do that is we have the user create an import rule, and the import rule basically defines a list. So it starts with lists, so users would either need to use workflow or manually propagate a list with the people that they want to essentially monitor and have their social intelligence mapped back to Attio. So I would just select my list. They might already have a signal, and a signal inside of getsignals is essentially almost like a saved search that runs on a schedule, checking for new social activity and collecting or capturing the people that are engaging, whether that's with keywords, whether that's with thought leaders, whether that's with competitors' posts, whether that's just capturing social profiles that are engaging with the actual your own personal or company brands on LinkedIn. You can define a signal for that. So if it's a new user, they can actually just click on create a new signal. Will automatically generate the signal, and all they have to tell us is the particular data that they want to get back into Attio, whether that's new posts, whether that's to see what a person is liking or what they're commenting on. So they pick that. Define the rule option. So look back period is just how far back, how old of a post do they want to see inside of Attio. If they only want new posts, then it might just be 1 day, and then the max number of contacts will run at one time. This is just kind of to control data flow. We default to 200. Duplicate detection is already built in, so we'll never create a duplicate note for a social event that has already been pushed into Attio. So we dedupe against all of that. So then create the new rule. We automatically already created the signal, and it runs about 30 to 60 minutes after that. But what happens with this rule now, so we've defined that the source list, which is leads 1, which is a list I already have created in Attio. So within the next 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to import all of the people that are in that particular list. If they have a valid LinkedIn profile inside their LinkedIn attribute, they'll be added to the signal. That signal will run in about 60 minutes. So the user will start seeing that influx of data going into the CRM in probably about 60 minutes. And I'll actually show you what that looks like in a second as well. So this is the first part. So this is the social intelligence, social sync component. And again, this is for propagating Attio with a person's LinkedIn social intelligence. Again, new posts, what they liked, and what they've commented on. And to quickly show you what that looks like in practice. So if we look at Dave R here, we've already synced over some data. It was running for a few days, so you can kind of see all these notes that have collected. And again, you don't have to do, if likes are not relevant for the user to see, they don't have to create a signal or a sync around that. It can just maybe be seeing, when Dave, posts something new, or it can just be seeing, what he's commented on. So like a lot of very common use cases for, are they engaging, if a lead is like, that's coming in and they're new, are they engaging with a competitor, for example, is useful to see. If they're an existing customer, are they responding to content that is within the ecosystem of problems that we solve? This is a new problem that we're not maybe solving yet. So it can give a CS team a heads up on what they might want to be presenting to an existing customer, or getting ahead in a proactive way of a problem that a user is communicating on social media or engaging with, but hasn't actually brought to you yet. So that's this flow. And, again, it's they can completely configure the type of social engagement that they want to bring over, but it's incredibly useful data. And the big value is, or big value point here is, otherwise to get this data in one place, if you have even of a small team, they would have to be connected with the user on LinkedIn to be able to go in and, be on top of these things. A lot of the data they wouldn't even be able to see anyway. So this gives your entire team, anyone with access to this particular record inside the Attio, access to all of this data and all of this intelligence. They don't have to use their own social profiles. There's no Chrome extension sitting here in the middle that they have to use. It all runs with getsignals in the cloud and pushes through seamlessly. So that's part one. That's the social sync. The other part is around building fresh pipeline. So very simple. I'll get to the signal part next, but with Attio configured, we do a default field mapping setup from some of our enriched fields that will map to default attributes inside of Attio. This can be completely customized by the user, though. We end up with about 50 or 60 different data fields that they can use. Not all of them will be relevant, but we start with the basics. So this would be something that gets configured by default, but again, they can completely customize it. So, as I said, a signal inside of getsignals is basically a saved search, and there are a multitude of different types of signals that you can create. This one in particular, we're monitoring competitors for new posts, but you can monitor specific profiles for job changes. You can monitor, Reddit posts by keyword, monitor, general posts by keyword or hashtag. You can monitor, again, your company page or competitor's company page, or any company or any personal profile that's going to be attracting your audience. The whole goal here is to identify some buyer intent through social signals. So in this particular case, we're monitoring, I think, three different competitor profiles here. So when it comes to export options, this is where we do and handle the data capture, right? So you can capture likes and comments, and you can just get that raw data so you can see which profiles are commenting, what they're saying. Same with the reactions or the likes. But then what you can do is you can save them as an enriched contact. And this is where the Attio integration would be available. So if we want to pull down reactions for any of the posts from our competitors, we can enable them to also save as contacts. We can skip anyone that's an employee of the post author. This is pretty handy when it comes to competitor monitoring. And then what I can do is enable the Attio integration to create people that we export. So any of these reactions, they come out as enriched contacts, and then we can push them to Attio. One other item that we can do as well is we can enable our email finder to push those folks with email addresses in Attio. So if people are using sequences inside Attio, this would give them a primed contact or lead that is engagement ready at that point. And we have built-in email verification as well, so they could also decide that they only want to push folks to Attio that have verified emails. All depends on what their outbound looks like. So we can enable that. And then when it comes to configuring Attio, as I said, you can only export folks that have verified emails if we have the email finder enabled. And then we can also optionally push these folks into a list. So if I already had a list for warm leads, or if I was creating a one-to-one list relationship between an Attio list and different signals that I have inside of the Get Signals platform, I can do that here as well. So that's that. And then signals run, again, daily, weekly. You can run them multiple times a day. And every time it runs, we capture more data, and then that data would be seamlessly pushed into Attio if the integration is enabled. So that's that piece. And then for a more advanced use case, we have AI agents. And what the AI agents would do is it kind of helps cut down. So there's a lot of social noise, obviously, and AI agents kind of help really pick out the signal from the noise. And they can parse through both posts, but then also enrich contact profiles. So if we pulled out all those contacts from reactions and that signal I was just showing you, we could have an AI agent with a custom prompt enabled to actually go through the contact's entire profile to perhaps identify if they're a good fit, if they meet our ICP, if they have a specific role, and we can go through their engagement. Did their comments mention a specific problem? Did the post that they reacted to identify a problem that our company tool solution solves for? All of those things to come out with an output. And that output could be as simple as true or false. And let's say that we're running through because we want to see if an account or a contact and the company that they're related to is B2B, and are they potentially in a growth role where they're responsible for building pipeline, right? And we want to come back with either a true or false in the output and nothing else. What we can then do is have the AI agent build in these conditional actions, right? So if we do this whole ICP check and the AI agent goes through their profile and says, yes, they're a good fit, it's true, then that true combined with the conditional action can actually push that contact then and only then into Attio. So it saves on a lot of noise going to the CRM. It gives you more of a pre-qualification. And then this is, again, all automated, happens all in the background. But this is another entry point for getting new people records into Attio. This is all part of any of our default plans. There's no, add-ons here. It's all credit-based. It includes all features, whether you have, 1,000 credits a month or 50,000 credits per month. The Attio integration isn't part of any advanced plan. Users can test it for every one of the functions that we offer and everything I just showed you here, just with a free account as well. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know.